Hello everyone, my name's Todd Welch, and I'm addicted to horsepower.
I think the Mustang. All right, we're gonna crack 1400 tonight, King.
Guys, this is my daily driver, Ruby. This is my 2006 Dodge Mega Cab that I drive every day. People call and ask all the time, does he really drive this every day? And I do. I tow with it, I play with it. It's my jack of all trades, do everything truck, and it's a blast. When I put this truck together, I had 150% over injectors, and I used the HE351 with a GT55 as my turbo system. I had a lot of fun with that. I went up and beat up on some Mustangs.
What's your guess? Who's gonna win? I've seen the Mustang.
Mustang.
So you think the Mustang's gonna win? What do you think? I think the Mustang. Okay, that was Is that an ass whooping? That thing's an animal. Blown 555.
Went up and beat up on Camaros. I went up and just had a lot of fun at some airport drags.
It's close. Who's gonna win? Todd got the win.
And while that setup was a lot of fun, it's never good enough for me. I have an issue, apparently. So right now it's probably a good time to talk about what the build consists of. For the engine in this truck, it's not overly exotic, but it is a solid build. We've got some Wagler Street Fighter rods in this thing, and they've worked really well at this power level. I've got a power-driven diesel stage 2 head with power-driven diesel push rods and valve springs. That extra flow makes a huge difference when you want to push big power. For fueling, I'm running some Dynamite Diesel 12mm and 10mm CP3s, and I'm also running the Dynamite Diesel 200% over super mental injectors. I'm very, very impressed with these injectors. I cannot believe the power I can make with them and still have this thing clean on the street and have decent towing manners for the amount of power it produces. The turbochargers on this truck are a Borg Warner 467 paired with the 106mm Garrett GT55. For the transmission, I'm kind of running an experimental unit. This is a power-driven diesel full manual valve body transmission, and we've got some mods in here to make it possible to have this big power while still make it tow friendly. So I've been very impressed with what we've got put together. It's been working really well, and it's very fun to drive. With the new setup in the truck and working so well, I want to start playing. I want to compete somewhere, somehow. The first thing that came up that I could play in was some dirt drags in Richfield, Utah. If you haven't dirt dragged before, I highly encourage it. It's incredibly fun, way more fun than I ever would have thought. So this is a pretty cool event put on by Industrial Injections Machine Shop, and it was a double elimination dirt drags. Basically, you have to lose twice. You got to keep going. Once you lose twice, you're out. And so you just keep running around, and if you keep winning, you keep going. So I'm quite proud to say I won the event, and I did so undefeated. This combination worked so well. I really didn't have too much trouble beating everybody, and it was really fun. While I was there, they also had some dirt bike drag races, which I'm totally in for anything dirt bike. So me and my boy Will went and raced. I totally lost every round, out immediately. My boy won every round, so he got to laugh at me because he won his races, and I got smoked. Guys, this is my actual tow truck. I tow everything with it. I even put in a 55-gallon fuel cell so I could tow far. I took this thing to Texas last fall for the NHRDA finals. I take my dirt bikes when I go motocross racing. Anything I need to tow, I tow with this truck, and it does amazingly well considering the power it makes and the turbos it has. I am always shocked at how well this thing tows. This truck is working very well, and I'm curious how fast it can go with actual drag strip. Meyer wanted to go to a test and tune down in Las Vegas to test out his truck, Scrat, which is awesome. You'll be seeing that soon. And I tagged along with my truck just to run and see what happened. So before I made the trip to Vegas, I wanted to verify this thing's gonna live. So I went on the back roads and I did some big old rips. And at 100 PSI, I was not able to keep the intercooler pipes in the intercooler boots. So the next morning before we left, I had to run into the shop and make some really janky, but awesome in my opinion, bars to hold the intercooler pipes into the boots so it wouldn't pop off when we're running on track in Las Vegas.
All right, Todd, we need a little preview. What are you doing?
I put this on this morning. This kind of hits there, so I'm gonna cut the top of that ball head off real quick. That'll work. Hopefully that keeps this pipe from popping out. It sure as heck should. Test and tunes are kind of fun because you see a huge variety of cars. You might line up next to a dragster, you might line up next to some Toyota pickup, you never know. But it's always fun to see what's there and see how fast your truck is compared to some of these pretty fast cars. In my mind, I'm wondering, is this a 10-second truck? I've always wanted a 10-second car ever since I watched Fast and Furious years ago because Dom said,
I said a 10-second car, not a 10-minute car.
I want a 10-second car. That sounds cool. As luck would have it, I line up next to a dragster. And I don't care how fast your car is, you line up next to a dragster, you're gonna look slow. So I looked slow, but it was still super fun to see how fast those things take off from the starting line. I ended up leaving too hard, spinning off the line terribly. It ran down the track relatively well after that. And I think it was an 11:59 pass, but I did know there was some ET to be gained on that first 60 feet because I spun out real hard. So I'm gonna go back to the pits now, lower some pressure, and try it again.
Hope it goes faster.
Then I got right back in line to make my second pass. For my next run, I was lined up next to this sweet supercharged Nova. It's a pretty cool car, solid 9-second performer. When I drove back down the return lane, Will was waiting for me there, as he often is when I run a good pass, and he made me guess my time.
Hey, what do you think you're at? 11:20?
After this run, the lady at the timing booth said,
I need you back in tech.
I know that means that you're not legal to go as fast as you're going. They're gonna boot you off the track.
No way!
It's 78. Let's see it. See the slip.
Whoa.
So you're officially getting booted off the track.
There it is, man. 10-second tow truck. Mission accomplished. On the way back from Las Vegas, I thought to myself, it is time for a real dyno session with this truck. I haven't done it with a new setup, and I want to know how much power am I actually making.
Last time this thing was on the dyno was probably over a year ago with a completely different set of compounds.
Hey, stop. You gotta look at the camera. Not me.
They don't want to see this.
This is the same tune that we ran 1078 at 128 miles an hour and change in Las Vegas a couple days ago. So we're making a guess. What's it gonna dyno here?
I am going to guess 1375.
375. I was thinking 1300 is my guess. We have it all modern than dyno runs. We got boost, interstage boost, overall boost, and drive pressure. I'm curious what this setup does for drive pressure because I have no gates, so I'm pretty curious.
You're not going to change it,
Nope.
but hey, we're curious what it is.
Want to know what it is. Anyway, this is our first pull I've ever done of this tune-up. If it's not good enough, we'll put a spicier tune-up in it. So we got the truck on the dyno, we did our first pulls, and it was a little bit underwhelming, to be honest with you. I couldn't believe I was only making 1140 horsepower. I thought for sure this thing was making more horsepower to go that kind of speed at this big truck, but it wasn't. Numbers don't lie. That's the power it made. All right, guys, so power numbers are in. We're all shocked. It's not near as powerful as we all thought. That's not enough. We need more. The first change we're gonna make was to simply increase pulse width. This tune was a 1500 microsecond tune, which is definitely not extreme at all. So we're gonna jump that thing up to 1800 microseconds, no other changes, and see what happens.
Wow, you finally beat your HE351 numbers. How do you feel?
It feels so good. I feel like I've finally done something with my life.
1309, so that picked up
160 horsepower, 167.
It's bad you didn't race with that tune. You might have run a 1050.
Oh, they're cool. Let's go see what the boost looks like. Let's go look at the data logs.
Sweet. Let's see what your peak recall shows.
100 here.
All of it.
99. 146 pounds of drive. I know it says boost is drive, and 111 pounds of boost. Still, 36 pounds. We're actually getting better. This is better than the last one. Like I drove the Charge with harder. 33 interstage. So that means my 33 interstage, I have about 41, and this is gonna be like 120. Almost 3-to-1 across the small turbo.
What's the ratio?
Usually I'm around 2.5, so 3-to-1's pretty hardcore. Like when I built this is for my towing. Like I literally tow this every day, so I didn't want like an external wastegate and all the issues that come with that, boost leaks, dirtiness. Internal wastegates are pretty easy, but you don't get those on big turbos. I designed it this way because I just want to see how it would work, and it works really well. That's 10 seconds in the quarter mile. There's always room for more power if you just want to build it that way, but for right now, it's working pretty good.
So from 2,500 RPM, you make over 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, 947. That's me just rolling into it. I wasn't.
So you break crest 1,000 at 2,600, and then it carries over 1,000 to the end. Ooh, you have a little dip at the end there, huh?
This is what we're trying to figure out what happened. The run was going well, and it made more power. It kind of stuttered a little bit, and I was kind of curious what was going on there. It kind of had a dip in the graph. So we decided to pull up the EFI Live data logs and see if we can see what the heck's going on. All right, so here's the data log from the run I just did. This is the EFI Live data log. If I pull up here is the rail pressure. So this blue line is the rail pressure actual. Orange line is the rail pressure desired. So right here I was desiring 225, they got 223. These are scaled differently, so even though it looks like it's way below, it's actually right there where it should be. If you look right here, it's a big dip, and a big spike, and a big dip, and a spike. So what that is the rail relief is popping. It's blowing open because there's too much pressure. The rail relief I have in here is not a super special thing. It's just a shim stalker that we were trying to play with that Meyer made for me. Really cool. So it's worked really well, but we're running pretty high pressure here, well above what stock pressure the stock relief is designed for. So we may need to address this in future. But for today, I just did another tune with a little bit less rail, so 220 MPa. We stretched out the injectors to about 2,000 microseconds. And we're gonna see if that solves our problem and makes some more power. So with a new tune loaded, we're now ready for another dyno pull. The tuning issues solved the issue, and we were able to make a good, clean pull.
All right, we're gonna crack 1,400 tonight, Dave. We're getting close.
What do you think? A little water in the intercooler? It would help for sure. Do you think it would get him to 1,400? The world must know.
I think you can dyno a little bit differently and get to 1,400.
How do you want to dyno different?
Give me the keys. I will make 1,400 horsepower.
And so I'm like, really?
Dyno it different.
Just right now?
Right now.
I think that is the official challenge.
Are you actually doing this?
Yes. You gotta back that crap up, dude.
You can't talk smack and not back it up around here, right? So what are you gonna do? Unplug the FCA?
No.
It'll just pop rail relief. We know this. You change the load?
No. Show us how you're gonna do this.
So you're gonna start throwing a 3,000?
I'm gonna start the run at 3,000 and I'm gonna be a little more strategic about how I get into it.
I don't even care if it does break 1,400. I'm still adding more pulse before I go home tonight.
Okay.
Water?
No, I can't cheat.
Why don't you get a spray
I
bottle
can't.
of water to just cool the intercooler right now?
That's cheating.
Just give it a little spritz. Just so it'll evaporate and cool.
No. Hey, I'm gonna do it right now. I can break 1,400. Then we're gonna break it a lot in a few minutes. If you ever get into a discussion with Will about what kind of power your truck is making, he would inevitably go to, well, how does it compare to the junker drag truck? He will always compare what you do to his junker drag truck, always, forever. It's hilarious.
So while we're like bantering, what's the best number the junker has done on this dyno? Will he surpass that? The mighty power rail.
Our dyno did 1370, 80, right?
You ever pull it up and prove it?
Go for it. 1436. So you did 1400s.
1400s, told ya. My 12 valve is superior to the tow truck. I'm gonna pat myself on the back where I can. Okay, this is Meyer. Thinks he can hit 1400 because he's a dyno expert. You lose! Meyer lost! 1398! You lose!
That's all I got. So while Meyer was close, we made sure to let him know that he failed miserably by 2 whole horsepower. So now it's back to the tuning. I need to make some changes in EFI Live, and I'm gonna up the pulse width to 2100 microseconds and see if that gets me past 1400 horsepower.
I can't believe you even know how to use a laptop, Todd.
I know, it's pretty rough.
$14.64, you finally beat the race truck of mine.
That's 300 horsepower we picked up tonight by tuning in pulse. Like we picked up 300 horsepower tonight, 330 horsepower. It's pretty legit. That's pretty good for playing around the dyno. Should have run that at the track, but I got a little faster. All right, so peak horsepower was 116 pounds of boost, 146 drive.
Is it up on the top end?
The power, look at how long it holds 1,400 horsepower. So we hit 1,400 horsepower at 3,200, 3,190. And it holds 1,400 horsepower.
All the way to...
When I let off, it was still holding until I let off. So we're 1,400, 3,900. Golly, that's a big old fat spread. That just holds it. That's crazy. Boost up here was 123, 156 drive. So we're about 30 pound spread, 32 pound spread.
So as you've added more duration, the boost and drive have come closer together.
Better, yeah. It's driving the turbo stronger.
For those of you who watched our last video, 12 valve turbo testing, you understand the significance of boost and drive pressure. So the boost to drive pressure ratio on this setup is 1.26. Should we do it right the air filter off and see if it makes any difference?
I think the people got to know.
People ask us, you make more power with the filter off? I don't know, we're gonna find out right now. We just did 1464. Do the same run right now. I'm gonna pull this filter off to see if we make more power with it off. We're making a lot of power with this size filter, we're gonna find out. After this, we're gonna turn the pulse up a little more because we have a little bit more rail we can run at this thing. So 2 more tests. First test, filter off. After that, we're gonna see what happens with some more rail.
That's a big turbo. How big is this? 106?
106 for the wave.
For this last run at 2200 microseconds, I also bumped the timing a little bit. I wanted to make sure I got past that 1500 horsepower. Why? Because like I said, I'm addicted to horsepower. Meyer, what power is he gonna make?
1525.
1525, that's my guess too. I'm gonna do 1510.
1501, which is 1 less than the best I've ever done on a dyno.
All right, let's go.
Who won?
1510, I
Lucky guess.
1510. That's my guess. I now have an official 1500 horsepower street truck, tow truck, 1510. Will, what's your best dyno? 1502?
1502 is my best fuel-only dyno.
Todd, what is your best fuel-only dyno?
2700.
Closer to 28.
Close to 28.
Don't sell yourself short.
That triple GT55s, that's a different story altogether. But anyway, it's been a fun night here. We went from 1140 horsepower to over 1500 by tuning tricks and get on the dyno. It's a very valuable time. I hope you had fun watching my personal tow truck. I had a lot of fun playing it tonight. See you next time.